Hello, everyone. So before we start the show, I just want to announce that we have a new Discord. So head on over to thestarcraftobserver.com/Discord. Once again, that's thestarcraftobserver.com/Discord. Now, enjoy the show. Hello, I'm Christopher Lopez, and this is the StarCraft Observer. The show centered around the real-time strategy game StarCraft and its real stories from the community. We talk to artists, streamers, players, creators about their first encounter with the game and how it's changed their lives. Today's episode is going to be a little different. I'm going to try to cut down on the edits the best I can and just have it just raw, essentially. Life's been pretty hectic these past few months, a lot of life-changing events, and looking for a new place to live. So anyways, you can already tell the difference right away. There's no editing. There's just myself. And this is the episode. This is how it's going to be for this episode. Like I said, life's been super hectic and really busy that I haven't had time to work on the stories that I've already recorded. Which I'm pretty excited about. And, once I get settled down to my new house, which I'm going to get into later, and figure out a space where I'm going to record, I can finally get back to editing and just putting together a general story. So where do we start? Let's actually start with, my day, Man, so I was totally afraid of doing this. It's funny. I was afraid of doing this because I was going to be recording myself and be alone with my thoughts. Like, already that just sounds insane and crazy, because why am I afraid of that? On Instagram, I'm posting reels of myself, and, that's been so liberating and fun to do. It's just really helped me find my childlike self. But I'm afraid to record a podcast and put this out into the world for all of you to listen. Like, that's just ridiculous. It just sounds insane. But yeah, I guess because I know this is going to be unedited, and it's just going to be myself just talking about random things, and I got some talking points written right here. Just basically gonna talk through whatever it is. Yeah, you can hear in my voice that I'm just really anxious, and but anyways, my day was great today. Actually posted a reel of myself on Instagram where I'm pretending to die, and this guy's narrating like I feel like I'm dead, and then all of a sudden he's saying I'm alive, and then I jump in the air, but I'm dead, and then I'm just laying back on the ground. And like I said, doing those reels on Instagram has really, and also on TikTok, has really helped me connect to who I was before getting into StarCraft, and meeting my wife, and just when I would socialize a lot more, it's helped me reconnect or find that humorous side of myself. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, I felt I lost that somewhere along the road, and posting this like funny content, where at least I think it's funny, and I think that's the best part about it. It's just like, I enjoy doing it, and I think it's funny, so I'm just going to post it anyway on these accounts, on the StarCraft Observer, on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, it's just been so liberating, expressing myself and showing who I really am. And I hope all of you've been enjoying, and I hope all of you have been enjoying it. So this is gonna be a terrible episode, but yeah. So I recorded a reel, so I knocked that out of the way, and I'm gonna post another one out soon where I'm just lying down in the rain. And that was another great part of making these reels, is that like I never would have done that had it not been for, Instagram or TikTok, like laying down in the rain and just feeling like every droplet hit your body. It's just, it's on everybody's, I think it's a bucket list thing. Maybe, I don't know, but doing that was just so, I don't know, like liberating. It really took me out of the day to day and just really helped me appreciate life a lot more. As cheesy as that sounds, just laying there, closing my eyes and just feeling every drop of water hit my body. It's just, I don't know, I felt connected to life. I felt reconnected to I just felt reconnected. Like, it feels weird. Like, I felt like before StarCraft, and I think that's why I love StarCraft so much. StarCraft has really helped me reconnect to who I was when I was younger. And it's really helped me socialize a lot more. And it's really got me involved with the community. And heck, it's even helped me create this podcast. And yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, when I was laying down in the rain, like I'm finding all these different pieces of myself slowly, and it's great. Like, this never would have happened had I've never have created, the StarCraft Observer. And I'm so grateful for that. It's crazy reflecting on all of it. Gosh, I don't even know if I'm making sense, but yeah, so I did that. That was another one that I'm planning on posting. And my wife had to be out of the house for most of the day. She had to sorry, I'm just finding it hard to breathe because it's summer. It's harder than usual, and I'm in a tiny closet. So yeah. But anyways, like I was saying, my wife had to leave the house for most of the day, and she had to work on base. So I was here with my daughter, and it was actually fun. I really enjoy having my daughter around while I'm working. It sucks because we're home, and before COVID, her whole thought process was like home, parents being home equals playtime. And that was pretty much true, before COVID. When parents would get home, it was essentially playtime, and I'd be playing with my daughter, I'd be running around with her, I'd be going on walks and stuff, which, I mean, we still do, but it's different. We're home most of the time, or we're home all the time now, I'm sorry. And I have to let her know that, like, it's not playtime. I have to work from 9 to 5, and you have to guide you on what you're going to do for the day. We have this like schedule written out for her, so I kind of like point to her like what she's going to do throughout the day, and she follows it for the most part, and I try to do my best to stick to it. So, but yeah, spent most of the day with her, and found a pocket of time to do that one reel and lay down in the rain and pretend I was dead in the grass. So, but yeah, overall it was a great day. So yeah, I finally started to play StarCraft again. I don't know what it was. I just finally manned up and decided to do my PlayStation matches. I placed in bronze after not playing for like 3 to 4 years. I was originally at Platinum before, not having played, or before stopping. And, when you go into your placement matches, you feel like you're going to get back there again. And that's already, step one. I was setting my expectations too high, and I'm already at a bad start right there. So, I'm going through my placement matches, and already I knew I wasn't feeling right. My macro was off. Like I don't know my build orders very well. Like I'm looking at a second screen and trying to follow, build order by vibe. Just the general bronze to GM build, and it's just not flowing well. It's just not flowing well, and then eventually get through all 5 matches, and I just placed in bronze, and I was like, this is life now. But I was very stubborn, and I tweeted about it too, saying that how much it hurt to be placed in bronze. But I was, like I said, very stubborn, and I kept at it, and I eventually placed in high silver again. So slowly my reflexes are coming back, and once I start memorizing my build orders and remembering the maps, things will get better. So it's only a matter of time. I just got to make the time for it. And yeah, making time for it's hard because I'm doing this podcast and I have a family, which is like the best thing ever. Super grateful, and it's a whole nother love when you have a family. But cultivating love is it's time consuming, and not in a negative way or anything like that. It's just stuff like that just takes time out of your day, essentially. So, I kind of have to sacrifice podcast time if I want to play StarCraft. And as I'm playing StarCraft, I kind of have like this nagging feeling in the back of my mind. And like, it just agitates me so much. And, I can only get through like 1 or 2 games, and then I have to get back to, working on the podcast to feel productive. And, yeah, it's just, one of those things where like I'm a one-man band right now, and I'm doing all the editing, the music, ad breaks, promo material, social media stuff. I'm just handling all of that, and yeah, it's just I haven't found the right person or the right editor that understands what I'm going for, I guess, in a sense. I can teach somebody, but I just don't have that kind of time right now. Because I only have the weekends to work on this thing, and teaching somebody, like I would really enjoy doing, but like I said, I just don't have the time for it, and it's hard to find an experienced editor, and it's going to be expensive, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm just doing it all myself, essentially. So, which has been an awesome learning experience. Because growing up, I didn't realize this until, once I started putting out episodes, but my brother went to film school. He went to LA film school, and I remember as a kid, I would wake up in the middle of the night. He'd come home from school, super late, driving from Baldwin Park, which is in the West Covina, Irwindale, Azusa area. I think if you guys are familiar with, Southern California. So he would drive from there all the way to Los Angeles, essentially, for film school, and come back home really late. So sometimes, it'd be like 11 or 10 or something, and I would just like fall asleep, and then I wake up to like typing and clicking, and the room suddenly was hot because me and him shared a room. The room was really hot because of the monitors, and this PC that's like blazing hot because it's editing in, I don't know what he was using. I think he was using like Final Cut at the time. I have no idea. But anyways, he was editing and putting together, student films and helping others create their documentaries. And that was the one thing that he was into, is documentaries. And I would always wake up to that. And sometimes he would ask for my input, like as to how a scene was put together, like how well he put it together. And yeah, he would take that information and try to apply it. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. So looking back on that now, it's crazy because I'm kind of doing the same thing, but with audio. Creating these stories, these like mini documentaries on, people from the StarCraft community. Which is insane. It's kind of like what Steve Jobs said in his Harvard speech, I believe, where, I'm going to paraphrase this. It's not word for word, but yeah, I would recommend looking it up. It's one of those speeches that I tend to watch when I'm really down and lacking inspiration. But in that speech, he's like saying, the reason why Mac has its calligraphy is because when he was younger, when he was in college, he just decided to take calligraphy classes because he wanted to. He just really enjoyed calligraphy. He didn't know what he was going to use it for, but he just joined this class. Eventually he drops out and does his own thing and goes off and, becomes the founder of Apple, essentially. And naturally, he remembers everything from his calligraphy classes, and that's how Mac has those beautiful fonts and stuff. So similar to that, you don't realize something. I don't know how to put it. But yeah, just when you reflect on something, it's just like, oh yeah, like now it all makes sense. Like fate has this way of like leading you through life and taking you on these wild journeys and courses and trials and tribulations and so forth. But we get through them and then we look back on them and it's just like, oh, so that was for a reason. That did have a purpose. And when we're in the moment of all that commotion, it's kind of hard to see the bigger picture until later on in life. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, so anyways, I did my placement matches and placed in bronze and eventually got back to silver. And my buddy Matt saw that I was doing 2v2s and he pinged me. And he's like, you're playing StarCraft? Because like I said, it's really rare for me to sit down and actually be playing StarCraft. And, my friend Matt, he's kind of like the one that put me on this journey, because he was the one that, took me to my very first BlizzCon, where I got to meet Artosis and Tasteless, and I got to see Zombie Grib do her cast, and Jeff, and Total Biscuit, and Nathanius. Yeah, he was there too. And it wasn't just them. Like, I got to see all these other people. I remember running into TLO. I ran into him and I was just like, hey, TLO? And he's like, yeah. He's like, hey, is there a Team Liquid meetup? And he just looks at me, he's like, I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up. Something along those lines. It's been so long ago, but I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you and I told him, like, thank you for being such a great inspiration to me. I really enjoyed, all your Terran play, and even when you played Zerg too, I really, really enjoyed it. And he's like, oh, thanks. And he just walks off. But because of my friend Matt, I had all these experiences, and that's what kind of led me to doing all of this and getting back into the StarCraft community. But yeah, he pinged me, and yeah, we played some 2v2s and got back into the groove of things, and me and him were just talking back and forth as we were playing these matches, catching up, and just bonding. Yeah. It's been a minute since I last saw him. He visited before COVID, or actually during COVID. But yeah, when you're in lockdown, it just feels like so long ago. But yeah, it was great bonding with him again and just playing the one thing we really love, So, but yeah, started playing StarCraft, and I haven't been able to find time to do any editing or work on any stories that I have currently recorded. Just mainly because, like I said, life's been really hectic. Let's start off with finding a place. So during the debut of this podcast, I had just moved to the East Coast, and I'm currently living in Virginia. And yeah, we signed like a 1-year lease, and then we eventually extended it for an additional 6 months. Which we should have extended it more, because moving during a pandemic is the worst, because people are just placing higher bids on rentals, on houses. There's this one incident where this one property was going for $2,600. We put in an application, and we talked to the property owner, and they said that somebody bid at $2,900 for it, and we're just like, wait, what? So that's been like the general story of looking for a place right now. Like somebody finds a place for $2,200, and they're just like, best I can do is like $2,900. I was like, what the hell? So yeah, it's been pretty crazy trying to find a place, and luckily we were able to find something, and now we just got to start packing, which packing's the worst. You don't realize how much stuff you have until you start putting it away. We just accumulate all these random things, some necessities, but others just like, why did I need this? Just random purchases from Amazon. But yeah, just so much packing to do, and we have just so little time, because in about a week from now, we're going on vacation to California to visit my family. And we're going to be there for 2 weeks. And then when we come back, we have to move. So that's going to be fun. The good thing is that, one, we'll be hiring movers, and two, we're not moving across country. So I'm just worried about where I'm going to record. There's like a little shed in the back in the new place, so I'm kind of eyeing that, and removing whatever tools or mowers are in there, and just finding a place for them, and then just soundproofing it and creating like this little miniature podcast studio. So but yeah, we're going back to California for my family. Not going back, but we're visiting my family in California. That's going to be tough, because one of the other life-changing events that has happened this year was my mom was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And that's been really tough. Yeah. I just had to stop and think about it, because it's just life-changing, man. Like, was talking to her the other day, and she started her chemotherapy, and she wasn't doing too well. I believe she got like chemo belly, so her stomach was getting bloated, and her digestive system slows down essentially, from what I read. And she was just, like I said, getting bloated and just in pain. And when I talked to my sister, trying to figure out what was going on, she said like, oh yeah, mom's been in pain for the last few days, and finally on the fourth day it was just unbearable, so I had to take her to the hospital. And the one thing about my mom is that she's very stubborn, and she's a believer that like, oh yeah, she'll get over it, and the pain's only for a little bit. But no, this was different. So my sister like dragged her out of the house, took her to the hospital, and yeah, the doctor tells her that if they've waited any longer, she would have been dead by now, because essentially she just had a blockage, and all this gas is building up, and can do a lot of damage essentially. So the hardest part was calling her. I FaceTimed her. She has her phone while she's in the hospital, mainly because she hardly has any visitors because of COVID, so they kind of restricted it down to one. And my sisters are busy and my family's busy, so yeah, like being halfway across the world sucks even more while this is going on, because yeah, it just sucks. But anyways, I called her up, and she answers the phone, and I see her, and she has this like tube going through her nose, and she's kind of in a haze. And she's like, "Hi, hola mijo, ¿cómo estás?" And we're just talking and talking. And essentially what the tube is to clear the blockage from her stomach. So hopefully that, from what it looked like, it was just clearing out stuff without getting into any details. But she eventually stops and just says that like, feels like I'm dying. That was the hardest thing to hear, especially coming from your mom. But yeah, she's doing better now. They managed to clear the blockage, and yeah, it's like every time she goes into the hospital, it's like one thing after another, because they did a whole scan on her body, and then they found a growth in her kidney. So it was just like, I can't catch a break. So they're gonna let that sit on the side, but they're still gonna keep an eye on it and see if it's like dormant. See if it's not growing. And if it is, then they'll figure out a treatment plan for that. But right now they're just focused on, the breast cancer essentially. So yeah, it's kind of like it's a huge bummer. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, during the whole thing, I was crying and I was breaking down, because I was just so scared. It feels like I'm gonna lose my mom essentially, and she's fighting for her life, and here I am halfway across the world, and and that's one of my things that I'm going to change up this series. I'm going to be making frequent visits to California, and just spend more time with her and just work remotely. And that's one of the greatest parts of my jobs, is that they allow for that flexibility too. So yeah, I'm going to see her a lot more. But like I said, yeah, I was just breaking down. I'm still scared, still trying to cope with it all, and just wishing for the best, essentially. Yeah, sorry. I told you this episode's going to be a lot different. It's going to be more of a tangent, just sitting with my thoughts and just talking with you guys. But yeah, at least she's doing better now, and she's in better spirits. I FaceTimed her the other day, and she was just really happy to see me, and my daughter, or granddaughter essentially, and my wife, and she's really excited for us to come and be there in California for 2 weeks. Yeah, and gosh, another reason why I'm going down to California is because my best friend passed away. He was in a motorcycle accident and lost his life. To make it even worse, he had a baby girl on the way, and it just sucks that he's never going to get to see her. My best friend of 15 years. "17 when I think about it, but anyways, I really don't want this to be a downer, but yeah, he was a really great guy. He was always really funny, and I think I got most of my humor from him. So growing up as kids, our circle of friends would always make fun of each other, and we'd just go back and forth, just making fun of each other. At one point, his wife, I'm sorry. I guess his parents were getting separated, and his eyebrow fell off due to stress, and we just point at it like, "Hey, dude, you should just draw it in with a Sharpie." It's messed up as that was, but and then he would always find things to come back at me too. It was just, he was always very quick-witted, and that was just what I loved about him. He's just so quick-witted, and he'd always come up with the tiniest things just to make fun of you for, and it was always a laugh. We were always having a laugh, and yeah, he was one of the best amazing individuals that I've ever known in my life. Even during my band days, he was supporting us, and coming to our shows, and just being really enthusiastic, and just had this presence about him, this magic, and he had this smile, and this charisma. His name was Beach Bum. That's what we would call him, and he got his nickname just because he was wearing baggy jeans and this windbreaker, and I guess he just looked like a beach bum, and that's how he got his name, Beach Bum. And we're just these punk kids just skating around the neighborhood and just vandalizing things and just being kids, essentially. But yeah, me and him were always hanging around each other. He was always coming over to my house when I didn't want to talk to anybody, and him and my mom were really close too. So no matter what, even if I said I didn't want anybody to come over, he'd still barge into the house and be like, "Hey, what's wrong, dude?" And he would just always try to get to the bottom of what's bringing me down, and that's what made him a good friend. He was always there. He was always there. But yeah, how we got here, I don't know. And that's the beauty of this episode, is just me, myself, and I. So yeah. All right. So yeah, I got talking points here. So yeah, I already covered that I finally started playing again, and then we went on this long tangent about my mom getting cancer and my best friend passing away. Sorry about that. But now we're going on to Dreamhack. The overall matches were really good. The finals brackets didn't have a single Protoss in them. It was just Terrans and Zergs, and eventually the final was a Terran and Zerg, Maru and Raynor. And that was just epic to see. Yeah, watching these two players who are the best in the world just go head to head. And for a while there, I thought Raynor was really gonna run with it for probably almost take all of it. Which sounds insane, but it was just looking pretty confident. But then, I think it was game 3, Maru took a game off Raynor and then took another game after that. So then now the matches are tied up, and it's just like, whoa, what these guys are doing is just absolutely incredible. And that's the beauty of StarCraft, is just like, you never know what's going to happen, with two highly skilled players going head to head. And it was just one of the best finals that I've ever seen. So, unfortunately, I don't have the knowledge to dive deep into here's what makes a Zerg, better than a Terran or what have you. But it was just an awesome game to watch. And speaking of games, I actually watched GSL the other day, the Group D matches. The biggest highlight from that was the pylon block on Solar versus Parting. That really sucks, man. Having one pylon block your ramp, not being able to expand, and then just getting defeated. That's the worst. And I remember, they banned that in MLG, because I remember they're doing that with supply depots, right? And that's why they added the breakable rocks there or something. But that's why they placed it down at the bottom of the ramp, so that doesn't happen. And it was just insane to see that happen. And you would think that you have two of these players who are at the top of their game to spend enough time on these maps to kind of know everything, but I guess Solar just didn't catch that, and Parting got the best of him. And that's the best thing about Parting, is just he's the best of both worlds. And he's chaotic evil and chaotic good, and you never know what you're gonna get. You don't know if he's gonna proxy void ray right outside of your natural, or you're gonna go into a macro game and go head to head. It was just crazy good, especially seeing him against him going up against Trap, and him taking out Trap too was incredible. I didn't see that coming. I really thought Trap was going to take it, and obviously Parting at least taking one game off him. But yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. So guys, go see those Group D matches. And then I was also thinking about Coinbase partnership with ESL, and that was pretty cool to see them implementing with Coinbase. And I can see why, because I actually bought a Dreamhack hoodie from the ESL shop and noticed that they put a crypto option for you to pay with. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, and that explains the whole partnership, is people can finally pay with their crypto. And who knows, that partnership might lead into prize pools with X amount of cryptocurrency given out. Or maybe that's an option. You want either a cash prize or cryptocurrency. That'd actually be pretty cool. You get those two options, A lot of people aren't big fans of cryptocurrency, but that's pretty interesting. Yeah, especially with the whole like crypto market right now too. It's just up and down. I haven't checked the prices, but last I saw is things are going down. Everything's slowly on a decline. And just gonna hit the bottom soon. So anyways, I don't want to dive into crypto. It's a whole nother story, but yeah, and somebody wanted me to talk about the balance and current state of the game. You know what, like especially seeing the final brackets in Dreamhack, where it was just a bunch of Terrans and Zergs, makes me feel like people are actually putting a good read or getting a better feel of, countering this proxy void ray thing that's going on, because, void rays are, from what I see, and this is just my personal opinion, like I said, I'm placed in silver, so from what I see, is that they're just super strong. You're having the proxy Stargate and a bunch of shield batteries built around, and that constantly happening. But I think, with Protoss is kind of trying to go for that easy win, and Zergs and Terran just realizing that, they've figured out the way to counter that. So Protosses are more reluctant to take that route and, try to go up against their opponents that way. So that's why in Dreamhack there's a bunch of Terrans and Zergs, which I was like baffled, at least like one Protoss, but seeing that was just like mind blowing. I was like, whoa. Everybody was like pretty shocked too on Twitter. So I was really surprised. But yeah, as far as balance goes, I don't know. I'm no expert on that, man. I put out this Instagram questionnaire where like people, or me asking for questions and me answering them on this episode. And yeah, the whole balance one, I was just like, let's give that a go. And yeah. On to the next question. So yeah, we got questions from Instagram. So like I said, on Instagram, I posted a stories post just saying that, hey, I'm recording this episode. Send in your questions and I'll answer them on the show. So let's take the first one. Blonde Bruce Lee via Instagram asks, what's your favorite 5-minute build with your favorite race? Well, I don't play Terran, and so far I've been following Vibes Bronze to GM build, mainly just because I need to just get my mechanics down. I need to get macro, I need to get my hotkeys back, and I just need to get just the overall confidence built. So just following one build order that can just structurally get me set up and economically efficient makes me feel good, especially if I don't get supply locked, and helps me focus on those things, which is why that's my current favorite 5-minute build. I guess that, I don't even think that's a 5-minute build, but anyways, it's just my overall favorite build at the moment, because it's just giving you everything you need. And once you kind of like nail down the build, you can start focusing on these like minor things like scouting and, your timings and what you should be looking for when you're scouting your opponent's base. But that's like once you really nail down the build. So yeah, that's my current favorite build at the moment. So the next question from Aldo Rayner 008. When do you think we'll have a balance patch? Ooh. I hope soon, man. I really, really hope soon. There are whispers right now that there's currently something being worked on, and who knows, maybe like Blizzard's got, something in the works. There's been a lot of shuffle, a lot of people leaving Blizzard. And I know that they tend to rotate their teams, I think. I'm not too sure. I know they do that with World of Warcraft, but I don't know how it's done with StarCraft. But yeah, maybe they got this whole new dev team that came in and they're trying to kind of pick off where the original team left off from, and that takes time, learning those things and learning these new systems and trying to push out patches and content and create content. So, but to answer the question as to when we'll have a balance patch, sometime this year, man. Okay. Next question comes from James Kin Hansen. Have you had someone so equally good to the point you just had to fight for minerals? So I'm assuming that he means, being equally matched to the point where like you're fighting over different bases because you need that certain mineral patch to fuel your economy. I've actually had that happen when I was playing in Platinum. I was still following Vibes Bronze to GM, and I think we're both following similar builds. I was Terran and he was playing, or my opponent was playing, I think Zerg, and I can tell they're doing like the Zerg version of that. And yeah, it eventually got to that point where like we're fighting over patches of minerals and stuff, and it was so ridiculous because I was comparing myself to like, when I saw Sarah at BlizzCon, he was playing stats. It kind of felt that way where like they're constantly fighting over resources because each opponent dominated half of the map, and they're just running out of resources, and each it eventually gets to the point where like battles are taking place at certain areas of the map because I need those minerals. So yeah, I've gotten to that point, and to be comparing myself to like Serral and stats is just ridiculous. But I think that's what made it fun. Like as I was playing this game, I pictured myself playing against Serral. As funny as that sounds, but I wasn't. But yeah, I've had that happen to me where I'm just fighting over minerals. So. Next question comes from Ristic Leon. Actually, not even a question. It was just Beastie Cutie. Beastie Cutie's dope. I enjoy his content. From what I've seen, it was very informative, and I tune into his streams from time to time. So, which I actually need to be better about. I tend to lurk. I tend to lurk in a lot of streams and sometimes not interact. And yeah, I just need to be better engaging with just Twitch chat. So, but yeah, Beastie Kitty's dope. From D7T Dragon. Would you like for someone to make a cross-section book on StarCraft 2? A cross-section book. So for those of you that don't know what a cross-section book is, it's like, take a overlord, right? Slice that overlord in half, get rid of one half of it, so where you can see the insides of it. And then what a cross-section does is like gives you this hyper look into what makes an overload. And what makes an overlord. Gives you a hyper look into what makes an overlord, essentially. And you got all these arrows pointing to different compartments, different, whatever an overlord has, maybe organs and, the inner workings. And yeah, it's literally like this, like you can literally see all these compartments. And yeah, seeing a cross section of that would be awesome. I know 47 Nest did that with a lurker, actually, I believe, where he did this cross section of a lurker, and it was like a quarter of it was cut out, but it was very detailed, and he added like this blueprint background to it to kind of like give the viewer the sense of like, hey, this is a breakdown of what goes into making a lurker, and it was really, really cool to see that. So I would definitely love a cross section of StarCraft 2 for all the units. Like that would be so awesome. I really love seeing stuff like that. So the next Instagram question from Trailblazer7. StarCraft movie possibility? StarCraft movie. Oof. I don't think so. I can't. It'd probably have to be something along the lines of like Aliens, where it's like integrated in this one part of the universe. I mean, they can do like a full-on StarCraft movie, but yeah, I don't think that'd be on anybody's radar really. But yeah, it's a possibility. So we'll see. So for my favorite person, our next question comes from Lex Grizzly, and this is actually a really good question. How did it feel when that first episode came out? I was absolutely terrified. I was scared to death. I was anxious. I was nervous. I was just not sure if I was doing the right thing, if that makes sense. Because in the first episode, I'm just doing this call-in type format where I'm just talking to various people from around the world and just asking them why do they love StarCraft, and also getting a bit of background as to how they discovered the game. But yeah, I was absolutely terrified. I was nervous. I was anxious. I almost didn't. I almost wanted to give up on the whole thing altogether, really, if I'm going to be honest, because at that time, even before that, Tasteless came out with his podcast, and then Zombie Grub came out with her podcast, and then Neural came out with their podcast, and you have the Pylon Show, and you have all these other StarCraft podcasts, and it's just I started getting in my own head where oh my gosh, they're all gonna crush me. I'm just this nobody. Nobody's gonna want to listen to me. Nobody's gonna want to give me the time of day to interview them, and be on the show. But I eventually worked up the courage and just published it. I just released it into the world. Because if I didn't, that'd be the biggest regret. And a lot of wasted time. A lot of people's wasted time. And in the end, I realized that we're all community. Nobody's trying to crush each other in terms of a podcast or shows or streams, being part of the StarCraft community, we're in this together. We're here to help each other out. And, sometimes it might not feel like that. Sometimes it might feel like the tides are against you. But majority of the time, we're supporting each other, and that's what I love about this community. But there are times where it gets really tough. We start questioning, man, is what I'm making even good enough? Will people even like this? And you just gotta put your episode or your content out into the world and just keep doing it. And don't pay attention to the stats. Stats is just, I don't know how to describe stats, because I kind of use it for Instagram, and just as a measurement of, I don't know, growth or something. I'm just seeing this thing growing, and the stats there, and yeah, this thing's growing, and that's all I see is just this growth, and just okay, that's cool. I'm posting stuff that I enjoy doing, and people are enjoying it, and I think that's the key part of it is if you enjoy doing it, and you have no problem doing it, and you're willing to put in the time and the effort, then just do it. I know I sound like a crazy person, but yeah, just as long as you don't get sucked into something that you don't enjoy doing, and you have this community expecting a certain type of content from you that you absolutely hate. So don't get sucked into that. And yeah, but Anyways, yeah, the first episode, that was just like the most excruciating self-torture that I've ever put myself through, and I'm glad I published, because once I did that, I was able to put more episodes out after that, and people were understanding that, like, the type of show that I'm making. And it's always hard in the beginning because, you know, when you ask somebody for an interview, they think it's going to be like this unedited, long format type of show, which tends to be majority of podcasts. But when you have, you know, 3-4 episodes, people are more inclined to do an interview with you because they understand that this is the direction you're taking this in. So anyways, yeah. But yeah, speaking of content, I've really been enjoying a Patrice Zelda stream lately. Seeing him finally get to the, 5100, 5200 MMR. That was really amazing to see. You know, he put in so much work, and, you know, some days we're L gang, other days we're W gang, and, you know, Twitch chat's along for the ride. And, you know, finally seeing him achieve that goal and just become a better player is just an amazing journey, you know. But yeah, and I recently purchased two of his shirts, actually, the W gang and L gang. It's just I love those, like, I love those designs, and, you know, especially when Twitch chat is just predicting that, you know, this is going to be a loss or a win. So that's why I bought them, because just that camaraderie and those predictions, and seeing Sal's reaction to, like, W gang and L gang, you know, makes it more meaningful. So that's why I've been enjoying his stream lately too. It's just been awesome. And I've been tuning into, who else? Angie's stream. She goes by Angeline Tammy on Twitch. Overall, just a great person, great Protoss player, and just seeing her interact with the, you know, the Twitch chat as well. You know, it's always amazing to see. She recently opened up about her her faith, which is not something you see often on Twitch chat, and it's something very brave in Twitch chat. Sorry, on a Twitch stream, it's not something that you see very often in Twitch stream. You know, it's something. I don't know. It was just very brave of her to do, and just seeing her be open about it is really awesome. You know, and how she got involved, you know, with the church, and at a very young age, not knowing how to deal with these other kids, because I think she was part of a church group. Yeah, she was the head of a church group, and essentially when you're the head of a church group, you're kind of like guiding these people and making sure they stay on the right path. And, you know, she was at a very young age where, like, she wasn't really exposed to a lot of things. So when she was getting these phone calls from members of her church group, you know, some of them were like, hey, like, I took a lot of these pills, like, what should I do? I'm scared. Or, hey, you know, I'm at a guy's house, like, what do I do? You know, so she was just like, whoa, like, what did I find myself in? You know, so, but anyways, yeah, like, it was just really awesome to see her open up about her faith. And not that I'm a religious guy, I just think it was just a really, really, really brave thing to do. And her Twitch chat was just really, like, really thanking her for being open about that. So it was a beautiful thing to see. So yeah, I've really been enjoying her stream. And then Larissa, I think that's how you pronounce it, Larissa. Yeah, I've been tuning into her stream, you know, and she's always fun to watch, and, you know, I always posting great content on Instagram. Who else? Zombie Grub as usual. I tend to lurk a lot in her stream most of the time, so Zombie Grub, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I'll participate in Twitch chat more. Let's see. So there's Zombie Grub, and haven't been able to tune into Lex's stream. I really love tuning into her stream, but by the time she comes on, I'm having dinner and I'm about to put my kid to bed. So, yeah, if you guys want to enjoy a great Terran Blair, she's a person to watch, Lex Grizzly. But anyways, yeah, so I don't know how this episode's going to turn out. I'm kind of really terrified of my words. I was freeforming it. This is going to be unedited, maybe edited somewhat, I don't know. But yeah, for stuff like this, it'll probably be rare. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it like once every other month with a podcast episode, because these are pretty easy to do. And yeah, send your feedback. I'll try to be better about my talking points and try to write down like what games I watched and, get into detail about GSL and Team Liquid map contest. Unfortunately, couldn't dive into the Team Liquid map contest because, one, I didn't play on any of the maps. All I can say is like, oh yeah, it looked nice. I've watched the games, but I haven't experienced it. And I haven't been able to tune into the TLMC matches, to see like how the maps balance out. So that's one reason why I didn't talk about them. But yeah, I think we've gone long enough, and I really appreciate you guys listening and taking the time to just tune into this episode. I got some great stories lined up, and life's been really chaotic on my end, which is why I haven't been able to work on stories and edit things, because I'm just in the process of moving, and it's just I had a lot of personal stuff happen in my life, so it's been challenging this year so far. So to everybody listening, thank you so much, and thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for sharing it to your friends, family, sharing it within the community. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm grateful for all of you. Oh, and before we go, and you might have heard this at the top of the show, don't forget to join the new Discord. You can get to the Discord by going to www.thestarcraftobserver.com/Discord. That URL again is www.thestarcraftobserver.com/Discord. I also did a quick fact check, and that Steve Jobs speech was for Stanford, not Harvard. So go to YouTube, look up that 2005 Steve Jobs Stanford commencement speech. I highly recommend it. And once again, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, friends.